In 1983, the software publisher Cascade released what very quickly became one of the most infamous releases in the history of video games. That title was this Cassette 50, which, as you can see from the front cover, was described as having 50 fantastic games on one cassette. This title was released for a significant number of computers of the time. If you bring up the Wikipedia page, you will see that this was released for the Acorn Electron, the Amstrad. I didn't even know there was an Amstrad version in '83. I'm sure the Amstrad didn't exist. Anyway, Apple II, Atari 8-bit, so the 400, 600 XL and 800. That one as well. The BBC Micro, Commodore 64, Dragon 32, Oric 1, Oric Atmos, VIC-20, ZX81 and the ZX Spectrum. All of those computers got a Cassette 50 release. It cost $9.99, which means that for 49 of the games you were paying 2p a game. For the 50th one you were paying 1p per game. So you may think that it was value for money if you're not familiar with this title. Believe me, every single game on the Cassette 50 was monumentally overpriced at 2p per game. Every single game on it was utter fucking shite. And the compilation was actually made by people submitting very basic games, they submitted it by answering a very small ad. They were paid £10 per game that they submitted, on the understanding though that if they cashed in their £10 cheque, they waived all rights to the game that they had written, which on the surface may sound like a bit of a cuntish thing to do, but yes, if you're not familiar with this title and you haven't seen any of the games yet, yeah, believe me, these people who made these games were quite happy to wash their hands of it. So on this playlist I am going to subject myself to reviewing all 50 games that were on the Cascade Cassette 50. Except there's going to be an extra game. So I'm actually going to be reviewing 51 games. And we'll see how many of you can spot which game was not on the Cassette 50. The extra game was commercially available. It was actually published and it was for sale. So it's not like one that's just been made up or, you know, was listed in a magazine for you to type out. This was a commercially available game. We'll see if you can spot it in amongst the actual other 50 from Cassette 50. Now, I'm not going to do all 50, you know, one straight after the other. It's going to take me a while to get through all 50 of these games because, you know, it will surprise nobody that every single one is utter shite, and I can only cover so many shit games in succession before I'm sick of the sight of them. So I'll do the playlist a bit at a time, but yeah, I won't be able to do them all in just a couple of days. This is going to take me a little while to do. So because the games are all shit, I've had to come up with a new scoring system. I can't just rate the games, you know, out of 10 like I have with all my other reviews, because, well, like I say, all of the games are utter fucking shite. So there'll be a new system for rating these games. That is the shitometer. So we'll get a rating of between 0 and 100 on the shitometer. So the higher the score, the shittier the game is. So if the game is bearable, it will score 0. If it is the biggest heap of shit I've ever seen, it will score 100. That's just for this playlist. For all the other reviews, it'll be the normal one. So, well, let's see how this goes.